Welcome back, everybody. This is the EdUp Experience podcast where we make education your business. Dr. Joe Sallustio here with you, recording in Doha, Qatar. What a long 16-hour flight for me. I'm not sure if I'm awake or sleeping as I record this episode. I'm very excited to be here. I have an amazing guest with me. You'll see how amazing she is in a second when I talk about her and when she talks about herself, more importantly. This conference is absolutely incredible. What an amazing opportunity to be here. And the learning is just off the charts. But speaking of learning, I'm going to bring in my guest right now because she's got to run. That's how important she is. Here she comes. Ladies and gentlemen, Archika Dogra. She is founder of Innoverge and young curator here at the WISE Conference 2021 Doha. What's going on, Archika? How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. We had a pretty awesome panel this morning, so feeling really good about that. And there's a lot more of the conference left, so I think a lot of exciting sessions to come. And I'm grateful to be here, honestly, just with COVID and everything that's happened. It's nice to kind of just be out of not even your house, but like the country for the first time
like to
in a
be
while.
outside and like take a fresh breath of air and all that kind of stuff. But we just finished the session. Is higher education still valuable? Let me just say you were absolutely
amazing. Amazing.
Yes, you were. I agree with whoever's hitting that button.
Amazing.
Couldn't be you.
No, it's not me hitting that button. What do you think? What do you think of the conference? What do you think of the vibe? Like, what's your big takeaway from what we talked about?
Yeah, I think the energy of the panel specifically was really good. We had people from a variety of backgrounds, whether that's one of the presidents and directors at the Qatar Foundation or the founder of Minerva, which is actually quite funny because my best friend's sister is in her first year at Minerva right now.
Really? That's cool.
So I told him and he was like, wow, that's crazy. So It's a small world.
You're rubbing elbows with like the higher ed brass right now, Archika. Yeah, I love it.
And it's crazy because they all know each other too. So when I first met the panelists, they all had this sense of familiarity. And I was like, wow, this world of education is a lot more interconnected than I thought it was, considering that all three of the other panelists were from different countries. So
it's super small. Like everybody knows everybody, even like globally, because higher ed, as an ecosystem is very small. And you end up crossing and meeting and seeing the same people all the time. But your voice is really important in that panel that we did. Because you're at Princeton and you're in your what, first year?
Second year.
Your first year was like
effectively, I feel like a freshman in many ways.
What happened in your first year? Do you have any memory of it?
Not enough memories, I'd say. And most of the memories, I was like, it was not very memorable. My first semester was at home, all Zoom. My second semester was on campus, which was nice just to be there and be around people my age instead of my parents. I love my parents, but they're not my age. And then now this semester is fully in person, so we're back to learning in person. There's not many capacity limits or anything in rooms and events and stuff like that. So that's been so refreshing. But I also did feel like a bit of a freshman going in because I was like, have I really been doing a year or a year and a half of this? No, not really.
Right. It's crazy. So how do you, as a student at Princeton, go on and start Innoverge? First of all, talk about what is Innoverge? Just for somebody that's never heard of it, what do you do and how do you do it?
Yeah, of course. So Innoverge is a youth-run global nonprofit organization focused on primarily bringing the intersection of STEM and humanities through educational programming to students from underserved and under-resourced backgrounds. So basically what we aim to do is connect science, technology, engineering, and math with empathy, storytelling, ethics, and leadership to build well-rounded leaders of the future who are equipped with the technical and leadership abilities to make a difference in this world. And so we do long-term programming with students from underserved backgrounds, primarily low-income backgrounds, along with within students who are in minorities in STEM, so women, students of color, etc. And we integrate our programming into places where they already are present. So we go to them as opposed to them coming to us. Community centers, libraries, schools, etc., to provide out-of-school learning that they're really missing out on, because up until middle school in the United States, lower income students miss out on 6,000 hours of extracurricular education as opposed to their peers. And that's a lot of formative development, both educationally and personally, that they just don't have access to. So that's a lot of what we focus on. And currently we're operating in around 14 different countries. We have 53 different chapters, and we've worked with over 7,800 students from minority and underserved backgrounds across the world. So it's been a really fulfilling experience. And I think the most impressive part of it is that it's all run by young people, so high school students, and college students who are teaching K through 8 students as mentors and leaders. And I think that's like a really cool thing to see, because you don't really think of that as like students being at the forefront of some sort of educational initiative or movement, but everyone has a lot to learn from everyone, and that's really what Innoverge fosters.
How do you even come up with this? Like, who are you, Archika? Like, who
Great
are
question.
you? Where did you come from? Like, to come up with some idea where you're just, how do you do this? Like, how do you come up with it in the first place?
Yeah, so it was really twofold, I'd say. The first component of it was that this didn't start as a nonprofit. I wasn't trying to, start an organization or anything. I was 15, working with just 5 students at a local community center, along with 2 other girls, teaching
Wow.
them workshops in the morning. So I'd wake up at 6 a.m. every Wednesday, drive on over before I'd head to school myself and work with these students. And that mentorship and that relationship I developed with them was really meaningful for myself. But I
And
also
you do
realized
this on your own time. You're just
Yeah.
getting up early, just going
Exactly.
and just mentoring these.
Not getting paid.
Not getting paid.
Nope. But I realized how meaningful it was for them as well. And so that was the beginning of like the outreach part of it, and then the idea behind it. So intertwining STEM with the humanities, social sciences, and social impact came from a personal story where I actually didn't really see myself. I'm majoring in computer science now, but if you told me 4 or 5 years ago that that's what I was going to do, I'd have been like, oh, boring. Like, why would I do that? I was disillusioned with STEM as a field in general, just because a lot of the classrooms I entered were very homogenous, and then also the projects that were being developed were like kind of boring. Like I was like, a racing car game, that's fine, maybe that's someone's cup of tea, but not mine.
Maybe it's probably my cup of tea. I mean,
Yeah.
So what are you going to invent? You're a computer science major. I mean, you must have big ideas. Are you connecting those big ideas to what you do at Innoverge? Are you looking at computer science to say, okay, how do I scale this? How do I include, or how do I wrap around technology around what I'm doing? Is that your goal, to grow your company now? Or is it a side project and you're going to go off and invent, AI and VR that's higher ed is going to experience? Because I know you're passionate about education.
Yeah, definitely. So I think my passion really lies at the intersection of education, technology, and social impact. I'm still very involved with Innoverge. I'm still helping lead the international team, and I definitely see that to be a large part of my life now and also going
Becomes
forward.
a part of you, right? Like,
yeah,
you can't
it
let
really
go.
is.
Yeah.
It's part of who I am. But for the future, I have no idea. I think like innovation in the education space is something that I'm really, really looking towards, whether that's through Innoverge or through maybe another initiative or like a spin-off of it or an extension of it. I'm not quite sure, but I think definitely using technology to impact people from underserved backgrounds and marginalized voices is something that I think is really important and not done enough of. And that's what I'm looking towards right now.
100%.
I agree. 100%. That's my 100% button. You like
Beautiful.
that button?
I love it. Yeah.
And my timing, it's getting, if I had more rest, my timing would be better. But since I haven't slept, it's like, I'm just hitting random buttons right now. But what I love about you is like how directed and focused you are. In my second year of college, I mean, literally, if you want to have a laugh, let me tell you what I was doing in my second year at college. It was nothing even close to what you're doing. Not even in like the same comparison. Are you enjoying college? Are you overwhelmed with the work that you do inside and outside? Or how are you able to control? I mean, you're attending Princeton. It's not like it's easy, right? It's not like they have an easy curriculum.
My finals are next week, and I can tell you that
Oh my God.
I'm underprepared for them in many ways, but
Yikes! Yikes!
yeah, definitely yikes.
Well, so when are you going to study? On the plane?
Yeah, on the plane, when I get home, I'm going straight to actually home from here because they were like, don't come back to campus because COVID. And I was like,
And you're in Jersey, right?
my home is Seattle.
Oh, you're in Seattle?
Yeah.
Why did I think you're in Jersey? All right, so you're in Seattle. So they say to you, don't come back to campus because you've gone to Qatar.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, of course, is like 98% vaccinated as a country. And
Yeah.
the U.S. is way worse. So what's the next step for you? So you go home, you take finals, and then where are we? So then you have a break?
Winter break.
All right.
Yeah. I'm definitely investing a lot into Innoverge. So hopefully going back to my community center, holding workshops there, kind of where it all started, and then also working with our team to build virtual programming throughout the break for students who are off. So I think that's going to be my main focus. And also just taking some rest. I think it's been an overwhelming semester for sure. You were mentioning like how does it all kind of come together, especially socially. I think a big part of college for me has just been meeting the people there. I think that's a really unique experience that you have where you're in this microcosm of people from all over the world, from different backgrounds, studying different things, interested in different approaches to solving problems. And so that's been a big part of my semester, just meeting them And then I run the entrepreneurship group on campus as well, which is
How do you
like,
do all that? Are you insane?
okay, I have a wonderful co-president of that group. I'd like to shout out Rohan, who really keeps
Delegation.
me.
That's great.
Yeah, so we work well together. But yeah, there's a lot going on. But I think for me, balance has always been very important. Like I don't like to, I don't know, like dedicate my whole entire life to working or something like that. So I think just finding those pockets of the day where I'm just like, this is for me, and I'm gonna take a nap.
What do you do in your spare time?
Nap.
Sleep?
Yeah, I sleep. I watch hip hop videos,
Nice.
even though I don't dance myself.
Okay, so here's a good question for all my audience here. Is primarily higher education administrators, marketers, faculty staff. What are young adults your age? How do we get in front of you? What social media tools should we be on? What do you do when you have you're about to go for your nap? There's probably 10 or 15 minutes. You're on your cell phone before you nap. What social media platform are you on? What are you looking at? What are you doing?
Instagram.
Instagram.
And that's a really tricky question because on Instagram, it's so easy to scroll through something that looks like boring or, it's not related to your personal life.
It can't be an ad.
Yeah,
if it's just an ad, yeah.
Exactly.
What about YouTube? What about TikTok, YouTube?
TikTok. Oh yeah, I'm definitely on TikTok, but it's almost weird to see like adults on TikTok.
Here
like,
you
what
go,
are you
higher
doing?
ed. How do you get? So, what would you say to higher education? Because we know that to get in front of an 18-year-old or soon to be 18-year-old, probably going to have to be on YouTube or TikTok. Definitely TikTok if you want to get in front of them. But what do I do? Do I go make a video of myself dancing as a higher ed administrator? Do I, show myself doing the changing thing and from my clothes into a gown, a cap and gown? It is, because to your point, it is kind of weird to be an adult on TikTok. And I've had like I have my neighbor was 17 and she's on TikTok and she's like, oh yeah, look at this old guy on TikTok. And so they're just swiped to the side. So what do you think higher ed should do to get in front of people like you, the 18 to 20-year-olds?
Yeah, I think put the students in front of us, because if I see an administrator or an adult telling me, oh, my school's so wonderful, I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, you're paid to say that. But I think it's most convincing coming from the students themselves. So if you maybe have students be in charge of that branding, or at least being the face of certain things, I think people are going to be more likely to look at it and engage with it. Because even when I'm scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, if I see another young person, I know that I'm probably going to relate to them in some capacity, as opposed to someone who maybe is a little bit older.
So authenticity really matters, right?
Yeah.
I always say authenticity is currency, especially after COVID. Like if you don't give off the vibe that you're real, nobody's going to respond to you at all. You're just going to be tossed to the side or swiped to the side. I will tell you that this young lady is power. She is absolute power. And I know my audience out there and people who listen to this podcast, many of them are interested in STEM education. Many of them are involved in projects with STEM education or working with people who are working with those that are in STEM education. So I encourage you to find Archika. Where would we find you, Archika, to connect with you and learn more about you and Innoverge?
Yeah, you can find my name, so my full name, Archika Dogra, pretty unique. So I think not too hard to find.
She's easy to find.
On Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, basically everything social media wise. And then Innoverge is also everywhere. So our handle is Innoverge and then INTL, so it stands for international. That's on Instagram, that's on Twitter, that's on Facebook, that's on LinkedIn. And you can also go to our website, www.innoverge.org. A really good place to reach out, and you can email me if you want to, archika@innoverge.org. So a lot of different ways you can reach out.
You can find her. If you want to find Archika, you can. I am asking my audience, if you are interested in STEM education, to support her work, find her and support her resources, whatever she needs, because this lady, I can guarantee you, she will invent something that we will use. I'm looking in her eyes, and I know for sure I'm going to be using some product she invents, or I don't know, like she's going to invent something. When somebody invents Terminators, she's going to invent the thing that kills the Terminators. I already know.
Now I have to, now that you said that.
Yeah, I know, and I said it in the panel session too, right? But before you go, I have to ask you one last question. Are you ready? This is a question kind of unrelated to education. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
For no money, Archika, I have no money to give you, but I'm going to ask you a question anyway. Here we go. What's your entrance music? What's the song that every time you walk on stage, every time you walk into a meeting, every time you invent a product and you go unveil it in the future, what's the song that would introduce you? Like your WWE entrance music?
Okay, this actually came to my mind a lot faster than it should have, but I would say Levitating by Dua Lipa.
Nice. Good one. Why? Why do you pick that?
I think it has a really good bop energy to it. People get up and dance to it, and I think energy is everything. So I think it would be a good entrance song.
I love it. Well, this lady is in demand. She's what's your session tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
What's the session that you're moderating tomorrow?
Tomorrow it's about out of school learning and the impact that it can make on students and then society at large.
Find Archika, follow her, help her, support her work. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Archika Dogra. She's founder of Innoverge, young curator here at Wise. Archika, it's a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
All right.